Hey, Robertson Chapel family, thank you for joining me for day 13 of the Bible reading plan. I decided to come out here to record the video today. It's a nice freezing evening, so that's going to help me keep this short and sweet for you guys. But let's just jump right into Matthew chapter 13, and it shows us a parable that Jesus kind of starts with, and it says, the same day he went out of the house and sat beside the sea, and great crowds gathered around, and Jesus had to step out into a boat to teach because the crowds were so great and they couldn't hear him. And it's amazing because Jesus comes up there. He says, there was a farmer. He took some seed, he sowed it on a path, sowed some on rocky ground, sowed some on sowed some in thorns, and then sowed some on good soil. And the one that had good soil grew. And he says, "He who has ears, let him hear." And he just goes off, walks off. I'm sure a lot of you, like, if we were sitting in that crowd, we'd be like, "What the heck just happened? Is that the great teacher everybody's talking about?" And he just talked about seed a little bit, and then he left. But when I like his final words. It's he who has ears to hear, let him hear. And I just want you to think today, do I have ears to hear Christ? And when he goes away, the disciples are like appalled. They're like, "Jesus, what are you doing?" Like, those are people that they were open to hear, like, the cause that we stand for, and Jesus explains it to him. And what I get from this passage as we go through, Jesus explains the parables to them because they ask. Because the disciples had ears to hear what Jesus was telling them. They had a soul, a heart to seek after God. And I want you to think today, do you have a heart to seek after God? And I know there's so many people in church today who sit there every Sunday all across the world. They sit there in church and they don't have ears to hear the truth. They go to church maybe because church gives you good principles to follow, or church helps you raise your children, or church gives you a sense of community and belonging. But no, they go every Sunday. They don't have ears to hear the truth that God tells them. They hear it on Sunday, but they don't seek after it. They don't try to discern the words and live it out. And they think that's going to get them to heaven, but it's not going to. And I want to encourage you today, have ears to hear God. Seek after Christ, because when the disciples came to Jesus and they sought after him, Jesus showed them what the truth was. He explained the truth of that message to them. And as we go along, he explains the parable. He says, the path, you scatter the seed that's scattered along the path is those who just don't understand. It doesn't seep in. This message doesn't seep into their brains and their minds and their hearts. And the second one, the rocky ground, is the rootless believer. It's the one who receives the message at first, but there's no grounds for it. There's no roots in your beliefs, so you eventually gets uprooted by the world. And then third is the one who hears, but who doesn't love the world, who doesn't do the word because he loves the world too much. He's too deep into the world. And lastly, the fourth one is the one who hears and does. And I like, as verse 44, I'll end on this today. He says, "The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which a man found and covered up. Then in his joy he goes and sells all that he has and buys that field." And I want to tell you today, bank your life on Christ. Bank everything on Jesus Christ, because he's the only thing you can put your hope in that won't let you down. And I think if we truly understood what was in this book, the truth that's in this book, then we would bank our whole life, bank everything we have on Christ. So today, if you're listening to this, I want you to know, hear the word, have ears to hear, so you can go out and do and bank everything on Christ. Thank you. I hope you have a good day.